This week on the Paul and Wayne Show.
In Tales from the Tavern, we discuss the merits of solo wargaming. We explore the city of Frostgrave in the Law Lounge. Our hapless D&D party make their way higher into the spooky death house. And Wayne and I explore several tangents as we think about what we've been doing on the hobby desk.
Tales from the Tavern.
Wayne and I have just got our tankards of frothing ale. That was better than last week.
Yeah, it was still bad, but it was better than last time. Yeah, yeah. I'll take what is basically a metal water bowl and a mug.
No, it wasn't. It was two tankards of
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to have our chinwag about things that we think are interesting, and other people can make their own decisions. So we're going to talk a little bit this week about solo wargaming, and kind of the rise of solo wargaming, or playing with yourself, however you want to think about it.
There's how to get demonetised very quickly. Just on like when you said like the sort of the popularity, like to me it's kind of like the last time I did solo wargaming was the Fighting Fantasy books back in the day. Yeah. I mean that was back then it was like I collected the books. It was I used to love them.
And I did those as well.
Yeah, Fighting Fantasy. I used to love them. Still got a few of them now. But I don't really hear of anyone. Now and again I see like Peachy and Peachy Tips. He does like great videos, doesn't he, on the solo gaming and all that kind of stuff. And you see that and you kind of you think, was that a solo game or was that a product of what he's obviously the battle reports that he puts out. But I don't really hear anyone talking about solo gaming.
Which is interesting because when you start to delve into it, you realise how much over the last few years it's really risen. So when you start going onto like the Facebook groups and things like that, there's huge amounts of people. And the example of that it brought it home to me is I bought that Warriors of Athena. Yeah. Those books, and you can listen to last week about my purchasing sort of things that I do. But I bought those, so I kind of looked for a Facebook group to kind of see what people were looking forward to when it was coming up, etc. And there's so many people on it, it's huge. And so many people looking forward to new models and going on to North Star and thinking about what North Star are going to bring out and those sorts of things.
It's really interesting, because I've not been exposed to that. I don't know anything about that. And you saying like there's loads of people with solo gaming and really interesting. Yeah.
So probably a little bit about. I mean, obviously the Fighting Fantasy, which I didn't even think about. That was how I started as well. But then during COVID, I don't know if you remember, we started our YouTube channel, and that was started during COVID, so we couldn't actually meet up.
Yeah.
And if you remember, I did some solo games of Middle-earth.
Yeah, you did.
Middle-earth strategy battle game.
Yeah.
Just going through the supplement at the time, which was I can't remember the name of it now. This is going to be an ongoing theme of me not remembering the name.
Was that the Quest of the Ringbearer?
Quest of the Ringbearer. So you're good at this sort of stuff. And
we started playing D&D during COVID, didn't we?
So that, and we started the journey through Middle Earth, and then we kind of carried that on. But I did 3 or 4 of the original ones on my own.
Yeah.
And recorded them and sent them out, and that was a way of gaming. And then what I kind of have done since then is, because I don't have many people to play Age of Sigmar against around here, and also I'm too interested in other things all the time, and you want to play different games and I want to play different games, I'll play against myself.
Yeah.
So I'll solo war game in order to learn the rules, because the rules change all the time.
The Zench book came out, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you were kind of you were kind of playing a solo game with that, weren't you? Just to kind of get your head around the rules.
Yeah, and it's working out. It's playing against something I know how to play really well. So I'm a Stormcast, so I don't have to think too much about them.
Yeah.
And really just getting those rules under your belt.
So building up the muscle memory.
Exactly. So that's kind of how I started doing it, and then I realised there's this whole world out there of actual solo games that are designed for it. So the one that I've been playing a little bit and have started off is 5 Leagues from the Borderlands.
Yep.
And there will be a report coming out on the UG Hobby channel in the not too distant future, because I've recorded the first scenario in that one, but then I've done a few more since. And I'll probably try the solo campaign in Frostgrave as well, which we'll talk about a bit later. We'll talk about some of the history of Frostgrave. And I've also bought the Warriors of Athena. So that's on the shelf at the moment. So I'm going to do the Frostgrave stuff, and then the
lovely
5 League
book,
stuff.
that.
Yeah, lovely
that
books.
is, I remember when you bought that, and I had a little flick through it, and it's a cracking book.
And the 5 Leagues from the Borderlands is what I'm going to run through. That's going to be the main one I do. So why has it become popular, I suppose, is the thing. And we talked about that COVID. I think that opened people's eyes a bit more to enjoying games yourself when you haven't got other people around.
Yeah.
And it's the time thing, isn't it? It's like adults don't have time. They don't have.
So is this
time.
the general driver for what you've seen from people online that it's just it's easier to kind of like do solo play than kind of organise a game?
Yeah, because and also you can play like. I was sitting in bed the other day being asked, what on earth are you doing, rolling dice, going with my book in front of me, doing the aftermath of the scenario.
Yeah.
And you can do these sorts of things anywhere. You know, as long as you've got a dice and the book.
Is this to see whether like people are like permanently injured or
dead,
so
or injuries
for the next campaign?
You work out. You might have a contact, so you might look for a contact, or you might do some work for the local guards, or you might go on patrol, or those sorts of things.
Right. Okay.
And you're trying to generate enough money. You've got to have enough money to keep your little warband going. So there's all sorts of roles and elements, and then you kind of make up. You make up the story and the setting.
Do you spend the money to replace people? As in, like,
you can do.
Yeah, if you've got casualties, can you expand?
You need upkeep as well.
Right.
I think you have to keep the same amount of people. You can expand, and it changes the parameters a little bit.
Yeah.
But you kind of try and keep the same amount of people. But obviously, some of them are knocked out for certain. They might have sustained an injury in the last one, and they can't go in the next one.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That sort of thing. But yeah, there's no scheduling for that. You can kind of pick it up and play a bit and put it down again. There's no pressure on it, and you can play at your own pace. You can do a lot over a weekend, or you could do
no rules arguments.
No rules arguments. Although you end up then going online to ask a question.
Yeah,
it's that sort of thing. And I think it probably really appeals to people who like role play games.
Yeah.
Because it's very role play. I mean, the 5 Leagues one is very role play.
Yeah.
I think from what I've heard about Frostgrave, it's more on the table.
Yeah.
So the playing solo, there's a little bit either end of the game, but it's more what happens on the table is the important part.
Yeah.
Whereas 5 Leagues, actually, you've got your scenario that happens, you've got your encounter, but there's as much of it is not on the table at all.
Oh, okay.
And loads of opportunities for like building terrain for specific things.
Yeah.
And paint. I think one of the great things is you're painting small warbands. So there's little projects that you can see the end of. And
are they all similar, like Frostgrave and Warriors of Athena? They all kind of like around 10 models.
Yeah. So the 5 Leagues is 6.
6, right?
Yeah. So and I think the Warriors of Athena is similar. Okay. So yeah, they're small projects, so you can kind of really go to town on them a little bit. And then because already after just a couple of encounters, my leader of my warband in 5 Leagues has found a suit of armour and stuff like that. I've now painted another model for him, so you get the opportunity to and just kept the same head. And that's a good thing about some of those North Star minis is you take the same head and put it on a different
modular kits are absolutely amazing for that, aren't they? Because you can because I do love it. I've said this before. I love a modular kit because it's just I like the fact that you can just switch out the heads, switch out the arms, and create. You know, I've used it before for the Oathmark, like the chariots. I didn't have any guys for the actual chariots, so I just took some. I think it was some historic. I think it was like Crusader models, and I just put orc arms and orc heads on them. Oh, great!
Yeah,
and they were like charioteers. Yeah. So.
So we talked a little bit about sort of solo mechanics, but there's loads of randomization tools in the books. So like encounter tables and different types of treasure and loot and magical items, and then event rolls, things that happen. Like you might be travelling from one place to another and you roll to see whether you have an encounter en route. So with 5 leagues, you might have an encounter on the way to the encounter. So you could turn up quite battered.
Do you have the option to, let's just say the encounter's going really bad and you're losing people. Do you have the option to withdraw?
Yeah, you can run away.
Yeah.
And that's one of the skills is to actually sort of go, right, that's enough now.
Know when. Yeah, know when to go, yeah.
And if people run away, they can get lost.
Oh, right.
As well.
So do you run, is there an element where when you run together? Or can you get split up?
Well, some people might disappear off, and then you roll, and one of them is that they've run away and hidden and stuff like that, and then they've got separated, and things can happen to them while they're separated. So it's kind of you roll on this table and then you roll on the next and it can end badly, or end really well.
Yeah, really interesting.
And one of the things I really like is drawing maps. And you can the good thing about it is you can do as much or as little of this sort of thing that you want. So you could just generate a map, put it into a computer program and just generate it. But I like to kind of hand draw it, and you build that up with your dice as well. About you have a certain amount of settlements and you roll what type of settlements they are. And then you create the map areas and what's on it using that system, and you end up with a map.
So it's very like D&D in that sense, where you go and explore the map.
Yeah, and you explore the map, and there's different enemies out there, and basically the game is you've got to defeat the enemies, and clear the area and make it safe.
Right. Okay.
But then there's all sorts of other things that can happen in the meantime, like you can go on quests and.
So you're like the A-team.
Yes.
You're like the fantasy version of the A-team, and you just go from town to town, and okay.
Cool. So that's solo wargaming, and I'd be interesting to see what other people think of it, or whether anybody else even does this, or it's just me going down a rabbit hole.
No, it sounds like there's a whole new world there, because I like I said, my interaction with solo gaming is purely for, and I love the Fighting Fantasy books. Well, they're amazing. Especially when they first came out, they were very unique, weren't they? They were kind of like the real kind of. Something that no one really seen before. So yeah, and actually I think when it comes to time, because it's especially like I don't know, you got a few hours at the weekend, and you think, I don't need to organise a game. I can just set it up and play. The freedom of that, I think it's great.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think probably the way to finish this off is it's got huge replayability.
Yeah.
So you could start the book again, and it could be absolutely and completely different.
Yeah.
So you could play through it 100 times.
Because always the rolls are going to be random and change it up and mix it. Yeah.
And you can make decisions as well to make it different as well.
You can even do a thing, couldn't you, where you go back, you use the same map, but it's 5 years later.
Yes. Yeah.
So everything that has changed.
Yeah, it's all sorts of stuff like that. Okay, so there you go.
The Law Lounge.
After 1,000 years, the fell winter has passed. The snows are receding, and Felstead has been uncovered. Its buildings lie in icy ruin, overrun by undead creatures and animated constructs, the legacy of the Empire's experiments. It is an evil, dangerous place. To the few hardy souls who inhabit the nearby villages, the city has acquired a new name, Frostgrave. It is shunned by all right-thinking people. For those who seek power and riches, however, it is an unparalleled opportunity, a deadly maze concealing secrets of knowledge long forgotten.
We've got ourselves settled now in the Law Lounge, and we're going to discuss a little bit of law, and it's going to be all about Frostgrave. as you can probably tell from the introduction by Wayne there. And this is something that I've really got into this game, and I've been looking into the lore and background, and I think it's, for me, one of the best sort of small scale areas or cities or settings that you can possibly get for a game. So it's going to be interesting to see what Wayne's take is on this.
So I am intrigued to see what your take on this, because obviously this was the book that just appeared when I walked off for 5 minutes when we were running our tournament, and then Paul was reading Frostgrave, and I borrowed the book, didn't I, for a couple of evenings,
yes,
with the full intent of reading the whole book, but I kind of flicked through it and looked at a few things, and you had explained to me how to kind of make the warbands and stuff like that, so I was kind of looking at that. So but actually the kind of normally there's the lore that I read first before I read any rules, because then you kind of get get into it then, don't you? But I haven't actually. I haven't read any of them.
So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. So this is going to be good. The fact that let's see, to hear your take on it.
Well, let me take you back to the golden age of Felstead, and Felstead was the original name of the city, and this is long before. So this is thousands of years ago, and it was the greatest centre of magical learning in the entire world. So you've got dozens of wizard schools, you've got vast libraries, vaults of arcane knowledge, and a lot of extremely powerful wizards. What can possibly go wrong in this situation?
So I take it some catastrophe has happened.
Oh, whatever gives you that idea that this... these wizards, so we should start to think there's some quite big egos amongst these wizards. So they're extremely competitive, and they're very secretive over their spells and their grimoires. And their libraries and all this sort of thing. So
do they compete against each other?
I think there's quite a lot of competition between them. It's all about who can know the most, who can do the biggest type of magic.
Yeah.
And what happens is they become really reckless with it. So I think we can all probably imagine what the outcome of that particular situation is going to be.
So they basically nuked their own city, have they?
So yeah, because they weren't just studying magic. They were pursuing it without restraint.
Right. Okay.
So then we have something called the catastrophe. So as we
So when I said catastrophe, I didn't actually know it was called the catastrophe. So
yeah. So you were spot on. I mean, it's not rocket science, but there was a single apocalyptic event. Now nobody's quite sure what it is, because obviously it was so apocalyptic.
they would have all died, wouldn't they?
Well, have they all died? This is the question, because it was basically engulfed in this unnatural or supernatural permanent winter over this sort of just this localized area. So this wasn't a place where it was a cold climate.
So when you say localized area, do you mean just the city?
The city and the surrounding area
Yeah.
were just covered in this permanent winter, and basically temperatures dropped like instantly.
Right.
So everything was frozen in place. So you imagine like the volcano. A volcano that came down and came over, and they all got frozen in place. It's like that, but frozen.
There was a film, wasn't it, years ago, where there was like one of those apocalyptic kind of storm films, and it was when the weather changed, it froze everything instantly.
Yeah, and you could see the ice coming, and it kind of froze people in place. I know the one you mean, and I can't remember the name of it at all. But yeah, so it was the whole city was buried in like deep ice, and snow. I suppose it was a bit like a glacier, and snow, and the cause nobody quite knew what it was, but there's lots of obviously things have been thought about it. So
at this point, it would have been so frozen that no one could go there.
No, there was no way of going near it. It was too cold for anyone. You would freeze as soon as you got near it, even if you had magic of your own. And obviously, a magical experiment of some sort has gone wrong. So the possibilities were some sort of summoning magic has summoned something that's created this, or planar magic. And then some sources hinted at a demonic or otherworldly breach. So these are all possibilities in your games.
Yeah.
All of these different things.
So So how? Obviously, you said this happened thousands of years ago.
So the catastrophe was about 1,000 years ago,
right? Okay.
Approximately 1,000 years ago. So effectively, what it did is it's frozen Felstead in time.
Yeah.
So it's like this magical tomb with you can imagine all these amazing things that are there.
So all of like the obviously the magical grimoires, the scrolls, all the learning that was there is just held. It's just obviously
it's all still there.
Okay, so that makes to me. So right, I'm getting it now because that makes sense of why there's wizards and warbands that go there because obviously they want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
They want to grab this stuff,
and so it's ruined.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is still intact.
So has it then? If it was like 1,000 years ago, has it thawed or partly thawed?
It didn't until recently.
Right. Okay.
So what's happened is just recently it started to emerge from the ice and snow. So whatever magical effect has finally started to wear off.
Yeah.
So it's now emerging, and it's this mostly frozen, ruined metropolis that's coming out. You can imagine it's kind of appearing out of all this ice and snow.
But this means that it's now accessible.
Yeah, it's now accessible, and there's more and more of it sort of being exposed all the time.
Right.
So you've got things like collapsed towers, you've got frozen streets and canals, buried libraries and vaults, half-exposed magical laboratories. And as it thaws, things like there's lost spell books, things that have been protected by their magic.
Yeah.
Loads of magical artifacts. You can imagine they were imbuing all of these items.
Yeah. Books, scrolls,
forgotten knowledge,
but just lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Magical items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are all things that parties can find. So obviously, wizards from across the entire world are flocking here to try to get some of this stuff.
And I take it because it was the height of magic, there was a lot of stuff in the city now would be stuff that, because I take it, I don't know what it says in the law, but I take it that kind of magic went babackwards a bit.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of forgotten knowledge there.
Yeah.
So obviously the wizards now are thinking, well, because there's 8 different schools of magic.
Yeah.
And they're looking for new knowledge all the time.
Yeah.
So it's quite unique in that the leader of all the warbands are always wizards.
Yeah.
And they kind of hire the muscle in to come and help them.
Yeah. So are the inhabitants of the that's quite funny actually. I actually said that word properly then because when we were doing the intro, I really struggled with that word. I take it are they people that have creatures and stuff that have moved in, or were they already there and they're kind of part of the thaw?
Well,
or a bit of both.
That's an interesting question. So the inhabitants are basically, this has become like a treasure hunting war zone.
Yeah.
Because there's loads of rival warbands and rival wizards all over the place with all these, there's necromancers and there's witches.
They're all bumping into each other all the time.
So, but you've also got quite a big, as you probably expect, undead. So they're some of the inhabitants are the undead. So you got, as you'd expect, zombies.
Yep.
Because they're kind of reanimated corpses. You got skeletons, and then there's wights and spectral beings that could be some of the old magic users from the actual city.
Yep.
But also thinking about that link to some sort of otherworldly plane, you've got demonic and magical creatures there as well that are in the city.
So there's a real mix of stuff where you can kind of go in any direction with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can build like different sections of the city. You can have all sorts of different scenarios, things you're looking for. You've got tribes as well that have kind of moved into the surrounding area and survived the cold on the outskirts that are now starting to come into the city.
Oh, right, okay.
So they're kind of the locals, if you like.
Yeah.
And
I suppose for the people that can get in and get out, there's a lot of wealth there within the city.
Yeah, huge amounts. Yeah. So there's loads of scavenger groups that are not like warbands. They're just there to scavenge. And of course you've got like cults.
Yeah. Cults
that have grown up around the legends of this thing. And there's a few from like the supplements of the game that are named. So you've got the Lich Lord, which is one of the supplements. There's breeding pit creatures, which sound interesting. And below it, there's a place called Melkor's Maze. So there's an underground element to it as well. So this has all been exposed under the city. And there's lots of mechanical creatures as well. So magically mechanical creatures. One of which is the Red King.
Daleks?
Well, maybe. I think you're free to kind of do that. So what I think is just a great place, because the ice is slowly shifting and melting all the time, and it's revealing new parts of the city. So for the author, he can continue to add bits to it all the time. And as someone who loves a narrative game and making up your own stories, world's your oyster with this. And interestingly, because it's Joe McCulloch who wrote the game, it was his first game, and when he was first sort of mooting it with Osprey Games, he had it as a desert setting.
Oh right.
But
okay.
Nobody quite sort of, it didn't hit home properly, and then I think I've got this right in that the person who was the one getting him to do it they were throwing names around and came up with the name Frostgrave, and that kind of then all fell into place at that point.
Like I said, so as soon as you said desert, I was kind of thinking straight away, I was thinking, that doesn't sound
it's not as good, is it?
No. Whereas it could be like a massive city, almost like kind of in my head, it was like, almost like an old, like a Tomb King's city kind of thing, and how dangerous that would be. But I think the frost setting's much better, because I think it kind of, I don't know.
And there's not that many settings. I know there are places in the world of other games that are cold and mountains are frozen, but this seems pretty unique to me. Yeah. And I think there's so many possibilities. Anyway, so what do you think, Wayne?
I'm already looking forward to playing it. I think the law of the battle, also the hobby opportunities with warbands, and kind of making, I don't know, where because you have a wizard and an apprentice, don't you?
A wizard and an apprentice, and then all sorts of different other hired muscle bases. So you got thugs and thieves, but then knights, and there's lots of different ones throughout.
Because I was looking with my warband was have the wizard and the apprentice, but then there'd be like a knight and a man at arms, which would be actually, they wouldn't be hired thugs. They'd be the actual bodyguards of the two wizards, and then the rest of them would be hired thugs. Kind of a bit of sort of no, but you could, the possibilities are endless, aren't they? With the narrative you can put behind it, also you could have it where you've got, I don't know, you could have it. You could have it with our warbands, couldn't you? Where you've got like, two people that knew each other when they were learning magic, had a feud, haven't seen each other for 20 years, and then suddenly they meet each other in Frostgrave, and they're both looking for the same item. You could have all these like stories that just pop up, and it's great. It sounds awesome.
Well, good. I thought you'd like it, so we'll be playing that soon. Our first game soon. Look out for it.
Look forward to it.
D&D Diaries.
Last time on Curse of Strahd. Previously, our party accepted a mysterious letter, walked into some fog, and immediately discovered it was the sort of fog that doesn't let you leave. Very Barovia, very inconvenient. They entered a gloomy village, met two suspiciously well-spoken children, and agreed to investigate their definitely not haunted house. Inside they found self-lighting fireplaces, imaginary food, and decor that screamed ghost problem. A suit of armour then attempted to murder Throm, which was rude but not unexpected. Candu incinerated it in a moment of panicked competence, and so our heroes ended the session bruised, confused, and trapped in a house that clearly resents their presence. The monster, of course, is still waiting upstairs, no doubt delighted. Session 2. The Nursemaid's Curse. The air in the manor hung heavy with dust and dread as the party, Candu Warrior, Rana Brightsun, Stumpy Lagar, and Throm Ironaxe, pressed deeper into its haunted halls. The shattered remains of the animated armour lay behind them, but the sense of unease only grew stronger. Candu's sharp halfling eyes caught the outline of a hidden door, cleverly concealed in the woodwork. With a deft hand, he revealed a narrow stairwell spiralling upward into the attic. As they climbed, Throm paused, his hobgoblin ears twitching. "There's chanting," he muttered, voice low. "Faint in the walls." The others strained to hear, but the sound faded as they reached the top. They passed a locked door, its presence unsettling, and entered a room cloaked in silence. Dusty white sheets covered forgotten furniture like burial shrouds. Stumpy, ever the curious artisan, tucked one aside to reveal a chest. Inside lay the body of a woman, pale and still, wrapped in a blood-soaked sheet. As Stumpy leaned closer, the air turned frigid. A mournful wail echoed through the room as the ghostly form of a nursemaid rose from the chest, her eyes hollow with sorrow and rage. The spectre lunged. Steel and spell clashed against incorporeal fury. Kandu's arrows passed harmlessly through the ghost. Rana, eyes glowing with divine light, his radiant spells flickering against the spirit's form. But the spectre was relentless. With a shriek, it grasped Throm in a deathly embrace. His roar turned to a gasp as his life force drained away, his body collapsing to the floor. Stumpy sprang into action, fumbling for a potent healing tincture, a blend of powdered silverleaf and radiant essence. With a hiss and a flash, he poured it into Throm's mouth. The hobgoblin's chest heaved, and his eyes snapped open, fury rekindled. The spectre shrieked again, its form flickering with rage and sorrow. Kandu slashed with twin blades. Rana raised his holy symbol, and a final burst of radiant energy surged forth, striking the ghost squarely in its ethereal heart. With a final anguished cry, the nursemaid's spirit unravelled into motes of pale light, drifting like ash in the still air. Silence returned. Rana whispered a prayer for the departed, and the group stood solemnly over the chest, the bloodied sheet now just cloth, the body still and pitiful. Behind a warped panel in the attic wall they discovered another secret door, this one leading to a narrow spiral staircase descending into the darkness. The air grew colder with each step, the stone damp and ancient. The chanting Throm had heard earlier now grew clearer, echoing from below in a rhythmic, unsettling cadence. They had entered the bowels of the house, a dungeon complex untouched by time, where secrets festered and rituals lingered. The descent had begun. So we're here after listening to that and recounting the session. So Throm, any observations?
Yeah, another stunning showing from the Hobgoblin Barbarian, and just really kind of being completely useless. So yeah, he's gone down twice in 2 sessions.
I don't think you went down in the first session. I think you were just bloodied.
I was kind of like hit points wise. I'd taken a whack.
Yeah,
I'd taken a whack.
Yeah.
So, and then this one, I was useless. I jumped in like he does and just got taken out.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't die.
I think not realising that actually your weapons didn't really do any damage against it.
Yeah, it's also when you're role playing, you kind of, you're trying. I always try to kind of not go, oh, that's a ghost. My normal axe won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I kind of think, I'm a barbarian. He's not very bright. He's very arrogant. He's going to go, I'm taking that ghost and charges in.
Yeah.
The downside to that is that you spend a lot of time, getting healed by people.
But you're taking the hits.
Yeah.
That they then don't take.
Yeah, and it is funny because, I mean, as you might hear, like I've done in previous campaigns, where I will do I'll make the big announcement that I'm going to do a certain thing, and then it will go spectacularly wrong. Yeah. But I quite like that. That's I like that. I like building it up for an epic failure. Yeah. It's funny and
then
it's
the
entertaining.
Uncanny ability to roll a 1 at that stage.
Yes, yeah, and and the fact that because we're doing it on Roll20, we're not actually physically rolling any dice, but it's amazing that you kind of how many ones come up. Yeah,
the ones that come up only at those particular times as well.
Yeah, but it's good fun. But it's going. I mean, in the first session, it's kind of thing I wasn't sure about the sort of the mix of with the party, but actually it's kind of it works.
Yeah,
it does work. And
Throm
will get better.
That one of the people we said last week was a good player went stomping in there, opened the chest. So this is Stumpy. Yeah. Opened the chest and uncovered it, and basically set the spectre out.
Yeah, kicked
without
it off,
any, no checking anything or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
it was quite unlike him actually, because he's usually the cautious one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Throm goes once we get a bit of experience and we go up a bit in levels and see how he develops.
And everyone's very fragile at the start, aren't
yes.
they? We're starting right from level 1. So
yeah, and it doesn't take much, does it? It only takes a few unfortunate hits, and Throm as well. He's armor class. I think at this point he's armor class 14 or 13.
I think it was even
less. Yeah, maybe less.
Yeah,
12.
Might have been 12.
Yeah. So at this point, so he's easy to hit. You know what I mean? So he's going to go, especially when he's putting himself front and center. He's going to go down quick.
I'm not sure you were particularly au fait with using rage either.
No, I wasn't.
He kept forgetting and then get whacked, and it's like, were you going to rage there? Oh yeah.
Because you take half. You take half damage.
Half for most of the types of damage. So
I've got my head around that obviously since, but I was kind of I'm not using these rules properly because they're actually there's a clear benefit.
So we'll look forward to seeing how the party do when they go down into the depths of the house next week.
The hobby desk.
Here we are at the hobby desk, and what have we been up to, and what sort of things are we looking at in terms of projects and hobby at the moment?
So for me this week, so I had really good hobby week this week. So I've finished the Orcs and Goblins for, I'll say finished, finished for now.
Yeah.
The Orcs and Goblins for Oathmark.
They're never finished.
Never finished. No. So I've got 2 units of 20. I've got a unit of 20 Goblin soldiers and 20 Goblin spearmen finished, and a unit of 20 humans, which are going to be kind of like they're going to be mercenaries for the army. So yeah, I think probably then when I go back to it, I'll probably do some Orc warriors, but there's with characters, there's probably around 2,300 points there.
So you've got loads of things finished. So what's been your technique with this? Have you been doing the sort of classic washing, or are you using contrast paints? How are you getting through them quite so much, apart from just spending a long time doing them?
So what I do, I know there's a sort of like the term slap chop, but so for evil armies, when I was painting a lot of the Lord of the Rings stuff, I used to I've done that technique for years, but I've never done it with black and grey and white. Yeah. I've always done it with brown, dark brown, light brown and cream.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that for 20 years. And I find with like Orcs and the Skaven and stuff, and all them kind of armies, because you've got that brown, the reds work really well with it, which a lot of the time you're putting reds in there, and the washes take to it, and then you can kind of you can kind of fool the eye because you paint certain browns, but some of it's already done. And depending on the wash you put in certain areas, it kind of tricks the eye, makes it look. So you can get through armies really quickly painting that way. When you do the sort of black, grey, white dry brush, I mean, it works really well, but you've got to kind of put more effort into putting the colours in. But when you do it the brown way, it actually takes less time.
It's a more subtle transition, isn't it? I do find with the black and the grey, it's quite harsh. The shadows are quite harsh, whatever colour you're doing.
Yeah, and if you spend a lot of time, so if you transition through the black, the grey, I know the kind of way, sort of black, grey, then the white, and some people just go black to white. But I found that if you kind of spend a bit more time on I find with that kind of technique, the more time you spend on transitioning the dry brush, the better the effect will be when you put the contrast paint on. The more, because that's kind of like where you take the care, and actually then when you do the kind of you put the colours in, it just works much better. So I've used that technique to get through all the goblins. But then what I do at the end of once I've gone through that process, then my main colours that I do, I paint them traditionally. I'll say
Yeah.
properly, because what does properly mean? But yeah, I'll do base colour wash, or I'll do a darker base colour, and then instead of the white, and then I'll highlight up through. So actually, your eye gets drawn to the signature colours.
Yeah.
And the rest of it's just background noise.
Yeah.
But you don't kind of pick up on it. But for painting armies, that's great, because you kind of have that punch of colour that you see directly, and the rest of it just looks neat and tidy.
I've been using a slightly different approach to sort of painting quicker, which is kind of avoiding washes and contrast completely, and just layering up through, like I'm doing some blues. And
So just going from a darker colour.
from a deep blue
Yep.
into a mid blue into a light blue, and then picking out a few little tiny bits.
Yep.
With a an almost white, and that again is because you're not going back in with a wash, then having to build up your colour again. The sort of thing that contrast help to avoid. I find that it's still reasonably quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as quick as what you're talking about, but then if you do that with the main colour, you can kind of use some of the other techniques with the other areas.
But you're painting kind of groups of 10 at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if I was doing that, I would probably go down the sort of the darker base and move up, or individual washes for different colours and highlight up, because it's a small project of 10. So I would definitely do that. But where I'm painting kind of batches of 20 plus, or I tend to go for that different technique. I mean, I don't always paint the same. It always depends on what I'm painting.
And that's half the fun, isn't it? You need
mix it
to
up.
sort of change things, and it's no good just being good at one way. Well, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's I get bored if I do the same things too much.
Yeah, I think with painting, it's very much kind of like just do what works for you.
Yeah.
And if you're kind of not enjoying it anymore, or not as much, then just mix it up and do something different. And don't be scared to try different things, because at the end of the day, it's just I've been painting for 40 years, and it's just a learning curve. Everything's new. I watch the way other people paint sometimes on like YouTube videos and stuff like that, or just speaking to people at tournaments about the way they paint their armies, and you kind of think, oh yeah, that's a different way of looking at it, or it's different, because you get stuck in your patterns of the way you paint, kind of the order that you paint things and so forth. So I've that army's kind of done for now.
Yeah.
And it is when you. I know I've sent you some pictures, but when you sit in the front, it's kind of like, it's quite. I'd say the shields and the markings and stuff like that isn't very kind of orc and goblin, but that was deliberate. I wanted it to look a bit different. But next on the painting table is I'm going back to undead. So the common theme with me, I never paint an army in one go. I'll have a big flurry of doing a few units. Then I'll kind of burn out a bit on that, and then I'll start another project. So I always have like lots of half
5 armies on the go at the same time.
And then I'll come back to, and over a period of time they'll get done.
Yeah.
But then a lot of models get painted. So I've painted some undead for Oathmark again. So that's like the zombies that we used for the last battle report that we did. So I painted up a load of those. They were not Forgotten Realms, that's D&D, isn't it? Something like, I'm trying to think of the name of the company now. They're kind of modular kits of zombies, I remember them. But they were really nice. So I painted those up, really enjoyed that. I've done some ghouls which were 3D printed, because I do FDM printing, same as you, and I do resin printing as well. So I made up some ghouls which are Highlands Minis printed. And next on the painting table is the Oathmark skeletons.
Right,
And I managed to get a friend of ours, Paul Buckler, a while ago. I was going through some stuff at his house, with his permission, I might add. I wasn't, wasn't stealing stuff. And I went through a bit, and I found some old metal. I don't know if anyone remembers the old Games Workshop coffin lids, shields.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I found some of those. So I said to Paul, "Can I take these?" Like, yeah.
This place is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, it's just like
it's a treasure trove.
Yeah.
A treasure trove of goodies. So I've got skeletons, and rather than doing with the kind of Bronze Age shields, they've got these quite comical wooden shields that are basically coffin lids. Yeah. So I'm going to paint those up. It doesn't make any sense at all that they would have shields, but it just looks cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna paint a batch of those up. And go from there. I think next probably after I've done it, because they're very much going to be I think what I'll do with those is I'll do kind of. I won't dry brush them. I think what I'll do is I'll spray them up from brown to sort of lighter colours. Then I'll highlight them, and then I'll put an oil wash.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with the oil wash there, so they kind of look like fresh out of the ground because obviously they've got the coffin lids. I think I'll go down that, and I might put some like moss on them and stuff, to just make them look, a bit different. I'll play around with the undead for the next couple of weeks or so, and then, see what distracts me after that.
I've on my table at the moment, I've been doing a couple of little bits of commission work.
Yep.
I've got 6 silver helms, old world silver helms on the table at the moment, and as well I've got some Necromunda models that I've found in a box, and I just thought actually I've been meaning to paint up some sci-fi stuff for a while.
Is it Delac?
House Delac? Yeah,
House Delac,
in the long cloaks,
big trench coats.
So I'd started them, so I thought I'll finish these off, and then I might do the House Escher ones as well.
Yep.
And then I've got some sci-fi, because you never know. There's a game called 5 Parsecs from Home, which is.
And there's Stargrave.
There's also Stargrave.
Yeah.
So these are potential ways into something that I haven't done much of, which is sci-fi gaming. Do
you know what? The one thing that kind of because you played Bolt Action, and I've had one game of Bolt Action with you, and I thought it was a good game. I liked it. I haven't played since, but I think for me, painting with that kind of historical stuff is not as appealing to me because it's very set the way it has to be painted. But I've seen a few things on Conflict 47 just recently, and there's just something weird about that you kind of go, would that be the thing that kind of pulls me in? I'm not sure, but maybe, who knows?
Not exactly historical.
No, not at all, but it's got that kind of, I don't know, you've got that, historical background, if you like, up to this sort of the end of the Second World War, and then it goes a bit crazy.
We've got a podcast that's all about loads of different games, so we need lots of different games to talk about, so it sounds like the perfect project.
Who knows what the future will hold?
That is a wrap on episode 2.
Yep.
Of the Wayne and Paul show. No, the Paul and Wayne. Which way around?
Paul and Wayne show.
The Paul and Wayne.
The Paul and Wayne show.
Of course, it should be that way around.
Yeah.
But most enjoyable.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone for listening. And don't forget, if you want to see some of the things that we've been talking about in that hobby desk, then you can go to Instagram. Just look for Ugg Hobby, and go to our website, which has got loads of stuff like that on, called ugghobby.com. And then, surprisingly enough, our YouTube channel, which is called Ugg Hobby. UGHOBBY. Very easy to find. So, all that remains to say is cheerio.
Thanks for listening. Till next time.